The boundaries which divide life from death are at best shadowy and vague. Who shall say where the one ends and where the other begins? Wrote by Edgar Allan Poe. Well, Edgar would be glad to know that because of extreme embalming, you can have one last party. It doesn't have to be all over when your heartbeat stops. If you have never rode on a motorcycle and you have always wanted to, here is your chance. No time like your death. Hi, my name is Holly, and this is the Murder She Shed. First, before the party begins, hit that like and subscribe for talks about the dead right in my she shed. And this is Strange Stories in My She Shed with Simon. Simon is my GS. He's right down here below me. You can't see him. I should have sat on the floor, I guess. I feel like extreme embalming is all about that one last selfie with your loved one. The selfie with the dead is almost as old as photography. Life expectancy in 1850 was 40 for men and 42 for women. Sadly, I would have already been dead. Or at least, it's sad to me. I don't want to get extreme embalmed just yet. Children would often die young due to diseases and no vaccine. So, post-mortem photography may have been the only photo that they had of their loved ones. Adults were mostly photographed in coffins, and sometimes they sat on chairs. Different props were also used to add on creativity. For instance, they might be holding a book during the photo session. The photographers mostly introduced different activities to make the dead seem, less dead. In most cases, photographers also handled the dead as if they were alive. They could clean their mouths and faces or turn them over if there was any need to do so. Once the photos had finished developing, some photographers would paint creepy eyes or include blush to the complete work so that it would appear as if the deceased was alive. Or at least they thought so. It's just really creepy though. Photographers would often have to travel for days to get to the dead. By that time, can you imagine the smell? And if you were a child and had to pose with your dead sibling, how traumatic that would be. The dead children in photos were called little angels. When looking for post-mortem death photos, it is very hard to find authentic photos. But one thing is for sure, if the picture includes a stand, it is just a myth that they are dead because they actually use the stand, those little stands that they used to hold dolls up. Well, I'll put a picture. They actually were used for the living because the living would not stay still enough for the picture. They were just too flimsy to hold the dead. How would you have liked to be a photographer back then? It would have been your job to pose the dead and massage them to loosen their joints. It was reported that photographers, like doctors and undertakers, had become so insensitive to the dead. One article cited a photographer who was so used to his work that when a bit of drapery failed to hang correctly from the shoulders of a posed body, he took a big pin out of the end of his waistcoat and pinned the drapery to the flesh of the corpse. When his actions were called into question, the photographer pointed out that the dead body couldn't feel a thing. He does have a point there. Well, time's a-wasting, and Who even knows how much time we have on earth? So let's get to the extreme embalming, because who knows, it just might be your thing. Renard Matthews, 18, from New Orleans, Louisiana, attended McDonald, I have no idea. He attended a high school in New Orleans. He was an avid video game player, so much that he was a homebody. But on the evening of June 26, 2018, he decided to go out and walk his new puppy on Independence Street. A neighbor sitting outside would say he heard 3 shots. Matthews had been shot to death. Although they did arrest the suspect, he was later acquitted of Matthews' death due to not enough evidence. The tragedy of losing Matthew so young weighed heavy on his family, so they chose to have his body prepared in a special way for his wake. So with the help of extreme embalming, he was put in his favorite position with this video game controller in his hand. And his favorite snacks were added: Doritos, root beer, and of course, zebra cakes. Don't forget those zebra cakes. I know one thing, he could still beat me at any video game. Ask my son. I suck. I wouldn't say he was dead. I would say he just reset characters. A father and son were both shot in their home, but the son was not allowed inside the church because he was extreme embalmed, but the father was not. So after his driving style to the church, they made him sit outside. Hey, I've got to say one thing though. That suit is the bomb, but it would be awful to be banned from your own funeral. Funeral guests walked by him and didn't even recognize him and started telling him off for not wearing a face mask, because this was in the height of COVID in 2021. The practice of extreme embalming started in Puerto Rico, where it is often called dead man standing. It can cost a stiff cost, no pun intended, of $2,000 to $3,000 more than normal embalming, because more embalming fluid is used in order to make your corpse more rigid. It also takes 4 times longer to pose the body, whereas the post-mortem photos in the early 19th century could not use a stand. These bodies could, and they would often use pose to keep the necks, upright. And this is because they use so much embalming fluid that it's definitely a stiff corpse. When needed, the feet is nailed to the floor, so the corpse don't take a dirt nap before the funeral is even over. My question was, if they are that stiff, how do they get them in a coffin to bury them? Well, Google didn't say, but I did see a photo where the dead rode his Harley right into the grave. No coffin used. So there's that. And maybe they're cremated too. Did you ever imagine you could attend your own funeral? Gambler Henry Martinez played poker at his own funeral. The 31-year-old Puerto Rican man's dead body was propped up on a metal folding chair next to a poker table. A pair of aces slid into his lifeless hands for one last game with his friends. I bet he had a great poker face. And this is cab driver Victor, although he has a long drive ahead of him, because I hear heaven is a long ways off. But one more question, is he getting buried in a car? They better start digging before he gets there, because that's going to be a big hole. If your dream is to be a superhero, well, they have that covered too. Here is Uncle Lionel, who was one of the first individuals to undergo extreme embalming. Yeah, well guys, I would say bury me on my Harley, but I just keep thinking in my head, nope, 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 not for me. I am okay with someone opening up about 50 bags of Cheetos and just pouring them all over me before they close my coffin lid. Just to be embalmed in Cheetos would be like heaven to me. But if it's for you, all the power to you. I mean, just as the 19th century honored their dead with post-mortem selfies. If you are open enough about death and it just makes you feel better about losing a loved one, then just go ahead, go for it. Hey, before you sign off, hit that subscribe button or you are dead to me. I'm just kidding. Well, guys, hope y'all have a blessed week. And me and Simon love y'all, so don't kick the bucket just yet. Is the murder shit shed. One time somebody said I said shit shed and I didn't say shit shed. Well, now I've said shit shed. Shit shed. Okay, here's a Simo, and Simo says that if he kicks the bucket, he wants to be extreme embalmed on a four-wheeler, right? You want to be embalmed on a four-wheeler? Boon, 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 boon. Yep, told ya. I knew exactly what he wanted. I knew exactly what his plans were. But hopefully, you got a long life ahead of you, because I don't want Bubba to go anywhere. He's a good boy. The beginning of selfies after death to the end of selfies after death. It makes no sense right now, but it will. He's a good boy. You just belch when I kiss you. What you belching on me for, boy? I got dog hair all in my mouth. What'd I get for giving you a kiss? Hello. But I wouldn't want to be dead right now. Even though I could looking forward to extreme embalming, that would be. Ooh. We have a water wheel. Our tank broke. Well, I haven't had water in 2 days, so at least I got to take a shower before I recorded for you guys. Although you can't smell me, so I suppose it don't matter. But I mean, I look better than I would have, I suppose. I hope that I do. Anyway, I guess we'll let y'all go. We will see y'all next time, and boy, do I have a case for y'all next time. It's a doozy. Let's just say that. It's a doozy of a case. Watch this. You want to see something? Boom. I'm gonna bust my nose again. Bye, guys. I gotta go do what I gotta do, which obviously involves a four-wheeler, right?